Hey, what's up, fired up people? What's up? What's up? It's Kirby Liaban here, getting you fired up today. Yes, yes. I'm trying out a new time. Instead of 3 o'clock, I'm trying out 5 o'clock. All right, all right. So, kamusta naman po kayo? Where are you watching this show from? Let me know down there in the comment section kung saan kayo nanonood. All right. So our topic for today is overcoming doubts and fears. Ayan. Each and every day, doubts come, fears come. No matter how other people may perceive of how good we are or confident we are, hindi nila alam we have these doubts and fears, right? And often we're having all these fears in our heads of things we cannot control, of things that are in the future or things that have happened way back in the past. Parang we exert so much energy and effort into those things. We have fears over those things. We have doubts with ourselves on problems that we can't even solve or it's not within our capacity to solve, right? So, ayan po. Let's talk about doubts and fears. If you have doubts and fears right now, if you're struggling with it, struggling with some insecurities and anxieties, ayan, this is the show for you. This is the episode for you. And hey, better tag your friends or share this to your profile so you can help people get fired up. All right. Let me know who's here and I'm excited to see your names. If it's your first time, just type their first time. Okay. But if you're a regular, ayan, just type their fired up. All right. So let's go, guys. Let's overcome our doubts and fears. Hey Chi, thanks for watching. Chi She. From UK, fired up from UK. Thanks for still being here. Nagbago na ating time slot, 5 o'clock p.m. One of the major reasons is that hey, I tried to study. People are very indulged with work already. Unlike during the pandemic time, all the strict lockdowns, talagang people are just working from home. Ayan, people are just working from home and ayan, let me fix that. Okay, people are working from home and you know they're immersed in the computer but now people are going out, right? Traffic na sa labas, so I figured maybe I can do this at 5 p.m. in Philippine time after work. Let me know if it works for you guys. Ayan po, so mukha namang nagpipick up ang ating audience at 5 o'clock, so it's still good. Hey, thanks for being here. Ayan no, so if you're a team live, ayan, comment naman kayo. Kung team replay, comment din kayo. So I'll know na nanonood kayo. All right. Hey, Ameline, watching and fired up from Caloocan. Yes, represent. Space IO is back, fired up. What's up? Okay, so let's talk about this. Overcoming our doubts and fears. But before that, the Fired Up Life is all about getting you motivated and focused in pursuing your dreams and living out your faith. And often, the things that block us from pursuing our dreams are our doubts and fears. No, may nakausap ako kahapon at talagang inaatake siya ng doubts and fears. Yun yung term na ginamit niya. And grabe no, even if that person is so talented, grabe dumadaan din sa mga ganyong mga pagsubok, mga internal struggles, right? So if you have those, ayan, stay tuned. All right. So definitely we want to live out our faith. And but if we are pinuputakti tayo ng fears natin, how can we live out our faith, right? So let's get it on. Let's all get fired up. Let's get motivated for work and life. And hey, thank you, fired up patrons, for making this show possible. If you want to be one of our patrons, go ahead, go to patreon.com/fired up life and be one of our supporters, diba? If this show has been blessing you, if this has given you motivation, ayan, bless this show as well so that the mission can continue. All right, so the Fired Up Life show is Tuesdays and Thursdays na at 5 p.m. We're gonna try it out maybe for a month or two. Let's see how the audience becomes better at this time. All right, so ayan po, overcoming doubts and fears, how to take hold of what you can control. That's our topic for today. Let's talk about doubts and fears. Saan ba nanggagaling itong doubts and fears natin? Like, I'm just gonna like limit it to three sources. Unang-una, there's this lack of confidence. Okay? Pag sinabing lack of confidence, parang every endeavor, parang iniisip mo hindi mo kaya, no? Parang you feel like your skills aren't enough, your training isn't enough, your experience isn't enough. There's always that lack of confidence. Kaya parang you feel like, ah, baka that's too much for me. Bakit ako yung napili? Or papasukin ko ba tong negosyong to? Papasukin ko ba tong uh, line of work na to? Baka mas maganda yung isa, mas madali. Okay? So you're not taking on challenges. You want to stay in your comfort zone because of these doubts and fears. It's hindering you from leveling up. It's hindering you from upgrading, from growing. Okay? And next is insecurities. Yung tipong you always look at what other people can do better than you, and parang parang may kulang parate, no? So you feel insecure, and that insecurity, whether it's by comparison with other people, or maybe you're just you just feel like you're not good enough, that can happen as well. So doubts and fears happen. And of course, yeah, nabanggit ko na, not being good enough. Yung wherever you look, uh, with your family, with your colleagues, work, in your studies, parang you're not good enough. Parang ganun ang feeling mo. Okay, so we need to know that we are enough, in a sense that God loves us, that whatever God has given you are already the gifts and tools that you need to overcome your doubts and fears. And may I also say that, doubts and fears, they have a role to play as well. No, when we are doubtful, that means it can also be some caution on our part, no, na papasukin mo ba to. So it also plays a role. Fear, it also plays a role to protect you, because that is our instinct. Our instinct is for survival. Our instinct is to make sure we don't get hurt, diba? So nandyan yung mga emotions na yan, yung mga experiences na yan. But sometimes these doubts and fears can just overwhelm us. Yun yung hindi na maganda, when it already impedes your growth, when it already prevents us from experiencing the fullness of what life can offer. Ayan. So, doubts and fears are not good in that way. Okay. So, we want to overcome these things. And just want to share this quote as well. Your faith can move mountains, and your doubt can create them. Okay? That's true. Yung doubt, minsan, ang laki na ng iniisip natin na hadlang, ang laki na ng iniisip natin na mahihirapan ka, na hindi mo kaya. So, although, your faith can conquer them, but be careful, baka yung mountain na yan is created by your own doubts. Okay, so what are the things that you are doubting right now? Let's reflect on that a bit. Ano ba yung mga pagdududa mo? No, so you don't have to share that in the comments, but hey, maybe that's a point of reflection. What are you doubtful for? A lot of creators have this term called imposter syndrome. Yung tipong, although you are an expert in what you're doing, in what you're sharing, you always feel like you're an imposter, because probably you didn't get a PhD out of what you're doing, pero you are actually getting the results, and you're teaching them how to get the results. But there's still that imposter syndrome that visits us from day to day, actually, day to day. Ayan po. So, we might be creating these mountains of doubts in front of us, that is paralyzing us from achieving what we're supposed to achieve. Okay. So, I want to point out these two things. Now, what you can control versus what you can't control. So one day I was confiding with a friend, and I said, "Ang hirap naman ng ginagawa natin." No? I was like, maybe venting out, and I'm just saying na parang these challenges are so big. Ayan, it's hard to cope. No, the usual things that one would encounter when faced with some problems in life, di ba? Tapos ang tanong niya sa akin, simple lang, what of these things can you control, and what can't you control? Just by doing that exercise, o nga, no? Pag hindi mo makontrol, and you're stressing over that, then it's giving you a harder time. If you can't control these things, then you are putting a lot of mental weight, a lot of mental burden on these things, then you will be dragged by that. So it's good to identify the things we can control, and Stephen Covey calls it your circle of influence. No, your reach. What are the things that you can influence, or who are the people you can influence? What are the things you can probably decide on that would solve the problem for you or for your organization, 'di ba? So try to delineate this first. Ano ba yung kayang-kaya mong i-control at hindi mo ma-control. So, I think the stress that is the source of stress that we have is knowing that we can take hold of certain things. We know we can control the outcome of these elements, but we're not doing anything about it. Okay? So, pwede mo siyang mabago pero hindi mo binabago. Okay? So, I think that is the the focal point of this discussion. How can we take action on the things we can control? All right? So, for example, you've always been wanting to do a passion project and it's always been at the back of your mind. It's been years. You can take control of that. You can take action, but you're not taking action. All right? You are procrastinating in a sense. So we feel guilty about these things, and it's not like it's just one thing. No, it can be four or five things in your head right now, things you can control but are not doing anything about. So paano nga ba? Paano ba natin ma-overcome yung doubt and fear that's hindering us from taking action of the things we cannot control? All right. So I hope this becomes a very fruitful interaction with us, guys. No, just comment there if you have questions. Just comment there if you have insights, so we can all get fired up. So I'm gonna share with you how to conquer doubt and fear and take massive action. Okay, so 5 ways. As usual, my format is 5 para sulit na sulit yung oras nyo dito sa ating Fired Up Live show. So if you're fired up, no, paki-type lang dyan sa ating comments section, fired up to conquer doubt and fear. Ayan, ang haba, no? So, para ma-exercise yung mga daliri nyo. Fired up to conquer doubt and fear. All right. So, guys, I want to see you type this. Fired up to conquer doubt and fear. Ayan, tanggalin ko muna to. I have to edit this. And here we go. Save and show it. Okay, so type in the comment section, fired up to conquer doubt and fear. Excited ako makita mga pangalan nyo. Parang attendance na rin to sa ating Fired Up live show, sa ating Fired Up session. Ayan, thank you, Ameline. Fired up to conquer doubt and fear. What's up, what's up? Ayan. So dalawa, no? Doubt and fear. Parang magkapatid to sila na nagtutulungan sila para maibagsak tayo. Okay. So, since Ameline is fired up already, may isa na, no? Keep your comments coming. Tuloy na natin ang ating discussion for today. All right. So si Space IO din is fired up to conquer doubt and fear, and shout out sa lahat ng mga nagtatrabaho dyan sa IO, Space IO sa araw na ito. All right. Hello, guys. All right. So, how do we do this? How do we conquer doubt and fear and take massive action? Kasi nga sa sinabi ko, what's preventing us from taking action of the things we can control are the things that paralyze us, yung doubts and fears. Okay, so number one. Una, face your fears. Di ba? Yun yung munang step one. Kasi natatakot tayo sa isang problema, natatakot tayo sa isang challenge, natatakot tayo na gawin yung isang bagay na hindi natin pinapansin, hindi natin naatupag. Tapos, dahil natatakot nga tayo, we don't want to mention it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to discuss it. Parang we always say, I'll think about that tomorrow. Let's talk about that tomorrow. Let's plan that out next week. And the problem with that is hahabulin ka nung mga fears na yan. No, the fears will catch up with you by and by kahit we put it on a later date. No, kahit 1 year yan, hahabulin ka pa rin ng fears na yan. So, better that we face our fears. And the reason why those fears become bigger and bigger is because when we don't face them, they actually have like an organic growth. No, you are actually feeding them. The more we neglect our fears, the more we are actually feeding them. Okay, we're feeding them with anxiety. We're feeding them with the doubts that we have, if ever we can overcome those fears or not. So we have to define what are the things that scare us. No, so let's define the problem. Let's break it down. Let's kumbaga dismantle it. No, kailangang ma-break down yung problem. Ano ba talaga ang source ng ating kinakatakutan? Bakit nga ba talaga tayo takot na takot? Takot tayong kausapin tong tao na to. Takot tayong humingi ng tawad. Takot tayong magpatawad. Takot tayong mag-commit. Takot tayong mag-promise. Takot tayong i-face yung kasalanan natin, yung responsibility natin. Right? So, what are those things? And by the action of identifying them, that is already facing your fears. Call it out, di ba? Name those fears. Because if you can name them, you can have control over them. Okay? If you don't label these fears, if you can't identify these fears, they will always have like this an invisible hand that is stressing you out always. So define it. No, it's just like doctors who you consult. No, doc, may nararamdaman ako, and you can't define what you're feeling, and the doctor will say, let's take some tests. You'll go through some tests. Then after a week or after a few days or a few hours, bumalik na yung test results mo, and he's saying you have type 1 blank illness. No, diabetes ba yan? You have hypertension. No, and the more that they can define that illness, the more that they can find a cure for it. Okay, so it's in a spiritual sense, in a mental sense, and probably in the psychological sense. If we are able to pinpoint what that fear is, if that's a fear of commitment, then we'll be able to create certain ways to be able to do these things. No? So, face your fears, define what scares you. Ano ba ang kinakatakutan mo? Alam mo ba na natatakot ka sa mga ganitong mga bagay? You're fearful of these things, and maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a deeper reason. Maybe there's something in your childhood that happened with you na kailangan mong kausapin ng isang guidance counselor, psychologist, or some one who has the expertise. Why are you having all these fears that you cannot understand? Maybe it's good to process that. All right. So, whether it's something that is not so deep, kumbaga, simple lang fears that na lumaki lang kasi hindi natin hinaharap, or maybe it can really be clinical. And we have to look at that, no? Sabi ni Micah, thanks for commenting. Fear of failing, no? Natatakot tayo na mag-fail. Baka we're afraid of what our parents will say, what our colleagues will say, what our children how will our children will look at us if we don't succeed. We're afraid of these things. Yeah, definitely, like failing, we are trained not to fail, especially at school, di ba? Kasi pag bumagsak sa school, parang there's like this social trauma. But in life, in business, failing is a process of learning. Failing is the fastest way to actually succeed. All right? So, how do we deal with that, 'di ba? So we have to face our fears. Dapat hindi natin tinatakbuhan, hindi natin tinatalikuran. Kailangan dinidefine natin. Kailangan naisusulat natin 'yan. Napapagdasal natin at hinihingan natin ng lakas ng Diyos to be able to overcome these fears. All right. So that's number 1. Number 2, sort out the things you can address. Simple lang. When I say sort out the things, maybe you can rank them from easy to difficult. Okay? Easy being things you can just address kahit today, to things that you feel like is a knot that you have to untangle. Okay? So you want to sort out the things you can control, kasi the things you cannot control, like the weather, and if you're not a monkeypox expert, then you can't control that. No, if you're not a COVID-19 doctor or expert, you can't control that. You just have to be safe. No, but with the things you can control, you want to sort them out from easy to difficult, and definitely having the right expectations in the length of time to address these fears will already put some of your worries to rest. For example, if there's a financial thing that we have to overcome and you feel like you can pay this off in 2 years, then at least you know that in 2 years you'll be able to solve that problem. But if there's like something like kailangan mo lang kausapin yung isang tao pero hindi mo kinakausap, then maybe this week it will take 1 week for you to talk to that person, to PM that person, to text that person, and to have a coffee with that person or visit their home. Maybe it will take 1 week. Now, by putting a timeline, by sorting it out that way, then it can put your mind to rest. Okay? So, in a sense, that is now really taking action on the things that you can control so that your doubts and fears will starve. Diba? That's the way to starve our doubts and fears. When we take action, we're taking away power from our doubts and fears. And we are now relying on our faith and skills, our faith and the ability to take responsibility, or the ability to respond in the right way, which is the definition of responsibility. Diba? Runs responsibility. Okay. So sort out the things you can address. That's very important. Okay. All right. Shout out to Rowan who was here. Ate Rowan, hi po sa lahat watching from Vienna, Austria. Thanks for being here. All right. Number 3. Ito, mahalaga. Make baby steps, because it can be overwhelming. You always think that you'll just have to make a bold move. You have to come out big. You have to introduce yourself with a bang. Maybe you can make small steps. Maybe you can make baby steps. In the startup world, when you're starting up with business, you call it the most minimum viable product. Okay, minimum viable product. That means the MVP is like maybe your prototype, and it's something that you can already sell, and you know that when you sell it there's potential. Instead of doing mass production and no one buys, you can start small and see if there's a market for this thing. So yun yung MVP, di ba? So what is that version in your situation? Ano ba yung baby steps? Okay, so let's just say you want to be a content creator pero natatakot kang mabash. Ayan. So the baby steps would be gawa ka ng reels, gawa ka ng 5-second video, no? Or maybe gawa ka ng reflection, baby steps. And therefore, wala namang nagbabash. O mukhang nalalike naman ng mga tao, na-appreciate ng mga tao. Then you become bolder and bolder and bolder. But everything starts with baby steps. Ayan po. You don't have to make a leap. Okay? You don't have to make a leap kasi people are scared of that thought. You have to jump, make a leap. Maybe baby steps would mean inquiring first. Okay? You want to migrate, that's a big step, right? But the baby steps are, oh, ano ba ang process ng application? Who do I have to talk to? No? So you gain confidence by making baby steps. So the treatment for this is you want to conquer your doubts one day at a time. Yung unti-unti mo siyang china-chop-chop yung problema or china-chop-chop mo yung challenge each and every day. Okay? So that's number 3. Let's make baby steps. Number 4 is have a bravery buddy. Baka kasi you're facing this alone. Baka kasi you're overestimating your uh, yung tapang mo, no? And only to find out na parang nakaka-paralyze pala tong ginagawa natin. Nakakatakot pala to. You're handling it all by yourself. And maybe it's time to call a friend. It's time to trust your spouse. It's time to, maybe if you have a ninong, a mentor, maybe it's good to ask a question. I get a lot of DMs or PMs. Di naman a lot na sobrang thousands, no? But from time to time, I do get emails from my email list and they ask me questions. I get, even in Twitter, I get some direct messages. They have questions, no? Natatakot sila. What do you think should I do if I were in their shoes, no? So, in a way, they're looking for a source of uh, perspective from other people. No? And the reason why people don't get a bravery buddy is they're afraid of being vulnerable. That means if they share their fears and doubts, baka ma-judge sila. Baka anong sasabihin ng tao sa kanya. Alright, baka masira yung image niya. Okay, so let's look for somebody whom we can trust. And mapapansin mo that if you're with that person, if you're talking to that person, tumatapang ka. When you're consulting with that person, nagkakaroon ka ng clarity, nagkakaroon ka ng um, sense of responsibility and action. You're able to act on your fears. So have a bravery buddy. Okay, if you have a bravery buddy, tag nyo sila dito or just comment there sino yung bravery buddy mo. Sino yung kino-consider mo as someone whom you can parang tinatawag nilang partner in crime pa yung tawag diyan. Pag syempre wag kayong mag-commit ng crime. But ito yung taong lulusob ka kahit anong giyera. Basta kasama siya, you will come out victorious. Okay? If you're with that person, parang we can conquer anything. All right. So who's that bravery buddy of yours? So let me know. Put there in the comments. Number 5 is dare to be David. Ito yung pang-5. Kilala nyo si David, di ba? And I often talk about this in the show because David faced Goliath. David was very brave. And the source of his bravery was not recklessness. The source of his bravery was not because he was overly confident. No, the source of bravery was his confidence in the Lord. While the rest of Israel were hiding, na walang gustong mag-volunteer to face Goliath. Okay. Etong si David came out. He knew that he had a slingshot. He knew he had a weapon. And he had a strategy. And he knows that, he knew that he could bring Goliath down. So, we may be small and our problems may be big, our challenges may be big, They look like the scary Goliath, taunting us, mocking us, making us afraid, or making us angry, 'di ba? So paano natin haharapin 'yan, yung ganyang problema, yung ganyang challenge? So we go back to David, 'di ba? David was obedient to the Lord. David was humble. David was a shepherd boy. He did his tasks. In fact, he was not considered to be a candidate from the shoots of Jesse, from the children of Jesse, 'di ba? And tinawag pa siya galing sa labas, "Oy, may isa pa akong anak." And Samuel, who was the prophet at that time, recognized David, recognized his anointing. So we are anointed, no? Whatever skill that we have, whatever capacity that we have right now, we are blessed by God to be able to overcome the Goliaths that come our way. All right? So dare to be David. All right, so I want to review the 5 things I just shared today. How to conquer doubt and fear and take massive action. Number 1, face your fears. Number 2, sort out the things you can address and, put there easy to difficult. Number 3, take make baby steps. No, massive action starts with baby steps. Number 4, have a bravery buddy. Don't do things alone. Don't try to be reckless. Don't try to be a lone wolf. Go with your pack. Be brave with somebody. And number 5, depend on God, draw strength from Him, and dare to be David. Alright, di ba? So ito yung 5 na ating diniscuss today for our Fired Up Live show. Let me know, guys, which of the 5 do you think is most applicable to you? Which of the 5 do you think has inspired you today and you will take action on? Alin sa 5 ang sa tingin mo nagkaroon ng fired up effect sa buhay mo ngayon? Okay, so let me know in the comment section. So we'd know which one is working for you. Ayan. So abangan ko po yung mga comments po ninyo. But for the meantime, hey, support the Fired Up Live show. You can be a patron. Just click the link in the descriptions. Check out the options there. You can send stars. There's a star button there. And you can, of course, be a supporter through Facebook. And you can also avail of GCash through that number. And hey, support the show again, be a patron. And all these patrons are really, really a blessing to this advocacy. Salamat po sa patuloy niyong pagsusuporta. Thank you, guys. And hey, you're helping me overcome my doubts and fears because you are supporting the show. Salamat po. Send stars again. And hey, I still have 3 copies of my book. Go to fireduplifestore.com for the last 3 copies. Okay. So it'll ship anywhere in the Philippines. Kung may gusto kayong regaluhan, just message me or just go directly to the website and order that book. And of course, I have also my Fired Up Life training services. You can avail any of these 5: team building, leadership training program, values formation, and retreats and talks. All right. And of course, Fired Up University is also there for content creators. So if you're a content creator and if you're struggling with it, you need a community of creators that can fire you up. There you go. Be part of Fired Up University. That's it. And hey, para kay Space.io, make baby steps. Ang sa kanya, relevant. All right. So, di ba? Baby steps. Pero because of those baby steps, nakakausad tayo. We are able to move forward. Para kay Ameline naman, make baby steps and dare to be David. Ayan. So thank you so much. Ayan. So and hey Renato, thanks for this. I'll check it out. Di lang lumalabas dito but hey, thank you for your comment. Para kay Jerome, make baby steps. Every little Step helps, di ba? Tesco ba yan? Hindi ko alam yung Tesco. Wala sa Pinas. Okay. All right, right. So, that's it for our show today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to conquer your doubts and fears and take massive action. Talaga. No? Sana after this show, you will go back to your doubts and fears and tell them, I have a big God. Let's get it on. I will solve this problem. Ayan. Hello, Renato. Ayan, watching from UK. God bless. Dare to be David para kay Renato. Okay, awesome. And yes, we'll be trying out the 5 p.m. time slot for some time. I'll observe kung mag-increase yung ating viewership. And hey, help out in increasing also the viewership of Fired Up Life. Alam ko marami ang nanonood on replay because of the different time zones in the world. So, hello Team Replay. Comment naman kayo dyan. Yes, you're welcome Space IO. Salamat sa iyong faithful viewership. Okay. So, that's it. Thank you very much. And hey, keep being fired up.